Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. And welcome back to the program. And of course, inshallah, right now we're talking Hajj. As you would know, it's a trending thing right now. If you are following the news on Hajj, you would know that a lot of Hujjaj are currently arriving in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And for many of the Hujjaj that are arriving right now, this is the culmination of a lifelong ambition to want to visit the Holy Lands of Madinah to Munawwara and Makkah to Mukarramah. And for many that are making this trip, you find if you've been on Hajj, a lot of them are elderly, and many have been saving up for many, many years. And of course, to go on Hajj is not cheap. And regardless of whichever package you take, it's going to cost you quite a packet. And joining me right now is my guest, Adeeb Abrahams. Adeeb Abrahams is from Al Baraka Bank. And inshallah, Aziz, he'll be talking to us about how best to save for your journey of a lifetime. Adeeb Abrahams is the Al Baraka Bank Regional Sales Manager. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Adeeb, and welcome to about how best to save for your journey of a lifetime. Adeeb Abrahams is the Al. Okay, we seem to have a bit of a delay there. Adeeb, are you with us? Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Maulana Luqman. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on Salam Media podcast, and
okay, we seem to have a bit of a delay there. Yeah. Adeeb, are you with us? Can you hear me? Are you?
Yes, I can hear you, Maulana. Can you hear me? I think I'm going to put off my camera, and maybe it will ease the flow, and it might be able to hear me more clearly.
Yes, I think that sounds much better. I think that sounds much better. Okay, Adeeb, we'll get straight into
it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay, Adeeb, what I was saying is that there seems to be a problem. So I'm going to give you back to. Yes, Saudi, I can. And inshallah, we'll try and sort this out because what I was saying is that a bit of a delay. There seems to be a problem. So I'm going to give you back to Saudi, and inshallah, we'll try and sort this out because there seems to be a bit of a delay, huh? We seem to have a bit of a technical issue with our.
Yeah, I can hear you, Maulana, but.
Okay, let's begin right away, Adeeb. And first of all, when somebody comes to Al Baraka Bank and says to you, "Look, I want to save up for Hajj," what advice do you give them? Okay. Okay, let's right away and first of all, somebody comes to Baraka Bank is to look. I want to save up.
I can't hear you. Breaking up, Maulana. I can't hear you.
Okay, I think Adeeb, if you just give us a chance, we're just going to take a short break, and we're going to try and do this thing again. I think the connection and everything seems to be a bit wonky. Some gremlins in the system. I do apologize. We're speaking to
Maulana. You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Adeeb Abrahams is the Al Baraka Bank Regional Sales Manager, and we want to get to the bottom of this discussion, and that is our financial Islamic finance segment, and this is saving up for Hajj. Very, very interesting, and I think a very noble cause that at some point in your life you're going to have to plan for. And Brother Adeeb is going to give us the practical methods and solutions on how to do that. We're going to take a break, and hopefully, inshallah, we're going to try and reconnect with Brother Adeeb on the line. Stay with us.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
Love is behind all the greatest stories of our lives. And the greatest love of all is Allah's. The first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are the days most loved by Allah. So give Qurbani in 30 countries worldwide. Give Qurbani. Give love with Islamic Relief.
it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying, or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Did you know that through Sanzaf, you can provide a meal to an individual for only 12 Rand? By committing to a monthly contribution, you can assist us in reaching out to more communities and deserving individuals. A once-off donation will also be highly appreciated in helping us achieve our monthly target. For more information, call us on 011 834 6046. Sanzaf, changing lives through development and relief.
Once again, Maulana Timol will be taking a trip abroad for Qurbani. Many people in the villages live well below the poverty line and only eat meat on the days of Eid al-Adha. Support this cause at 1,820 Rand for 7 shares or 260 Rand per share. Contact Maulana Timol, Maulana Sajjad, Maulana Hamad or Maulana Abbad on 011 852 6324 or 8584 or 8538 or 072 299 9268. All slaughtering will be supervised by a team of foreign and local ulama. Visit www.operationqurbani.org.za.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
Welcome back. Hopefully, inshallah, Adeeb Abrahams is back with us, inshallah, and I think we have him on the line now. We are having a trouble with the line, with the video call because, as you would know, there's load shedding in South Africa, and Brother Adeeb was attempting to speak to us using his data, and that seemed to have been a little bit difficult. But inshallah, I think Sadiq has managed to get him on the line. Adeeb, assalamu alaikum. Are you there? Can you hear me? Adeeb, are you there? Okay, I can hear something. I don't know if it's Adeeb. Adeeb, are you there? Assalamu alaikum, Adeeb. Adeeb Abrahams. Okay, we seem to be having a difficulty getting hold of Adeeb and trying to continue this conversation. And I think just to let you know exactly what it is that we're trying to, or at least the actual aim of this discussion in our Islamic finance segment. Islamic finance is all about making sure that we know all the rules that go with earning a halal risk. And as you would know, you cannot go for Hajj with a risk that is not earned in a halal manner. So when you're saving up for Hajj, you have to make sure that when you save up for Hajj, you do so in a halal manner. And there are many different organizations and financial institutions that help you to prepare for Hajj. And Al Baraka Bank is one of those organizations and one of those institutions. And we thought it would be a great idea to just get some idea as to what it is, what products they have for people who want to actually save up for this journey of a lifetime. How long does it take? How different is it from other savings? How different is it from other type of saving vehicles? So I'm going to try again one more time and find out from Sadiq if Brother Adeeb is on the line with us. Quite an important discussion that I'm sort of reluctant to let go, because I think it's very important, particularly at this time of the year. If you do not make the accredited list of Hajjis in South Africa who have been accredited for Hajj, and you want to be accredited next year or the year after or some years from now, then this interview is actually for you, or this information is for you. So Sadiq, is our guest back on the line?
Yes, Maulana, can you hear me? I can hear you clearly, Maulana.
There we go. Thank you so much, and I do apologize for the difficulties. I think it's this load shedding that everybody has to try and live under. Hey, sorry about that, Adeeb.
No problem, Maulana, no problem, no problem.
Shukran. Okay,
Hope
Adeeb.
you take Allah. Hope you take Allah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Adeeb, the first issue, the first question that I asked was when somebody approaches Al Baraka Bank and says, "Look, I have a dream to travel to Mecca, to travel to Medina for Hajj, and I need assistance, I need help in achieving that." Do you get people that come off the street with such requests, first of all? And secondly, what advice do you give to such people that do approach Al Baraka to say, "Look, I would like assistance in saving up my money for this trip"?
Yeah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, Maulana, Luqman, and to all the viewers and listeners on the podcast. Yes, Maulana, we get quite a few of, quite a lot of people that come into our bank with regard to the intention to perform Hajj. And I think the first thing is, the individual must make the intent to perform Hajj. Once you do that, and then you set your mind on the fact that you want to fulfill the fifth pillar of Islam, things will sort of become a bit easier when one starts saving every month. I think when they interact with the consultants, it's a process of making sure that spiritually we prepare ourselves for that, and then from a savings point of view, that the discipline is there to make sure that you can at least save a particular portion of your income every month to try and make sure that you can reach the goal of reaching a particular amount. As we know, in today's time, Hajj has increased tenfold compared to a couple of years ago. So it becomes more and more challenging to be able to reach that the goal of having a certain amount in terms of what you want to achieve. So like I said, your intention is clear and you are disciplined enough to actually do what you feel you want to do, because Hajj is one of the most important journeys that one can undertake. I think in the life of a Muslim, it's probably the most spiritual and uplifting and rewarding journey one can actually undertake in your life, because it's a process where one gets closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we get quite a few of these, every day, that we get people coming into the branch wanting to open Hajj accounts. And this is the kind of information that we will obviously share with them. And it becomes very emotional when people come into the branch with the intent of and sincerely wanting to fulfill this obligation. So, we try and do our best from a banking perspective, and also try and encourage the people to be disciplined and focus on trying to reach that goal. And I think, through my experience being at the bank, when you hear the stories of people starting in a humble way of putting away maybe 100 or 200 a month, and over a couple of years, they eventually end up at a point where they could actually perform Hajj. And I think more importantly, when one wants to say for Hajj, one must make the intent and register to go on Hajj, because there's a process in our country where, you have to go through that process to be accredited to perform that particular duty. Malana, can you hear me?
Adeeb, when it comes to the South African, it's basically for every country now. I mean, the process of going for Hajj, they need to be accredited. Every country is given a quota, and people have to fill that quota. Has that changed the way people save up for Hajj? Whereas in the past, people would start saving, and they know that it'll take them many, many years to eventually get the amounts needed to go for Hajj. And things were very different way back. I'm talking 20, 30 years ago. But nowadays, people are saving for Hajj, but at the same time, they're also making sure that when they have the money, they are in that particular amount of people, the quota that were accredited to go for Hajj. I'm just interested to know that the system is changing quite a bit every time. How has that changed the whole aspect of saving up for Hajj?
Yeah, look, it's actually quite fair, even with the accreditation process now, when people are actually going on and leaving for Hajj now, people have got to the point where they probably saved for the last, like we said, 20 years. But unfortunately, through the increase of pricing, what they've actually tried to save to go on Hajj back then to compare to the prices, now people can't afford to go on Hajj. And I know of quite a few people that have been accredited, but they had to forego the fact that they couldn't afford to go on Hajj. And I think that is sad. I think we're living in a time where, from an economical point of view, it's very challenging to meet your daily expenses and to survive in terms of the cost of living. But I think one needs to probably then look at what you're saving and try and relate it to inflation, so that by the time in 10 years or 5 years time, what you're putting away now is relevant to what inflation is going to do as prices increase, to make it a realistic approach for you to actually go on Hajj when you become accredited. So that's been a big challenge here in I'm sure in all the other provinces as well. That people were accredited, right? They had to forgo the accreditation and give it over to people that could afford to go on Hajj. I've heard of people paying up to 150,000 rand per person now to go on Hajj. That's a lot of money. So yeah, it's a bit of a challenge now in terms of trying to save for the last 20 years, and then simply putting away 1,000 or maybe 500 rand a month is not going to be worth 500 rand when you want to go in 10 years time, because prices increase. So your accommodation, your flights, your add-on costs. So yeah, it's probably that's why I said earlier on, it's a very disciplined approach to try and make sure that as your salary increase or as inflation increase, that you make your saving relevant to that, so that by the time you want to go on Hajj, you should have close enough to accommodate. But then one also has to look at the kind of packages that are available.
Yes.
Probably just take what you can afford and not go for the 4 weeks or the 6 weeks, and just go for 2 weeks or something. If it gets to that, but just to perform Hajj, it's important to fulfill that obligation.
Absolutely. Adeeb, now I want to ask you, I'm so glad you spoke about inflation and the importance that your savings will outstrip inflation when it's time to go, because you maybe by the time you started saving for Hajj, the average or at least the cheapest Hajj package was maybe 80,000 rand. But by the time you are ready to go for Hajj, it's no longer 80,000 rand. It's in fact doubled. How do you advise people, or what products does Al Baraka have to ensure that whatever savings that are made for Hajj outstrip inflation, but at the same time also avoid interest, because interest you can't go for Hajj with interest money, of course.
Yeah, look, we have a specific Hajj account that we make available to our clients, which is purely for the sake of Hajj and Umrah. But like you rightfully say, at the moment, in terms of the profit rate that you are paying, it's probably not relevant. It was not probably just below inflation at the moment. So yeah, when you're looking at that and you're looking at the cost of what the package is, and maybe the returns you're getting now won't equate to what inflation is, and that'll become a problem. But it is a product that we have if one starts saving at an early age, which is the equity fund, Sharia equity fund. And that is your medium to long term, 5 to 7, and that is linked to the stock exchange and invested in Sharia stock. So that will give you a better return in terms of above inflation, and it will probably get you to the point of saving, say, in 5 to 7 years, and you should have enough money with regard to performing Hajj with the price applicable at that particular point in time. But like I said, not many people have the appetite for that, because there is a risk involved, because it's exposed on the JSE within Sharia requirements. Whereas some people would come to the bank and say, "Okay, fine, my capital is more or less secure, and I put it into a Hajj account for the purpose of paying for Hajj or Umrah." And the bank, in its wisdom, try and pay more profits on the Hajj account because of the nature of the account. So we try and make sure that the returns are equitable, or at least attractive, to try and make it easier for the people to perform Hajj. We also have, if you open an account at our Baraka Bank and you're a Hajj account holder, and you conform with the rules and regulations of a competition where we give away 20,000 rand towards one's Hajj package or Umrah package. So that is one way we try and make it easier for somebody to perform Hajj, by allowing people to enter into that particular competition by having an active Hajj account at our Baraka Bank. That's something we do every year just after the holy month of Ramadan, and we give away 20,000 rand in each region throughout the country.
MashaAllah. So Al Baraka Bank and the Hajj account that you talk about. Let's drill a little bit deeper, Adeeb. What is the typical investment that will be required in order to successfully save up for Hajj in the period of time that that you give between 5 and 7 years? If you could give us like a practical example of how much money should be put in, and at what interval? Is it every month, every year, every quarter? How does it work in order for this actual for this account to actually result in going for Hajj at the end of it, at the end of the 5 to 7 years?
Yeah, what normally happens is the minimum amount you need to open the account is 100 Rand, okay? So the account's fixed for 12 months at a time, so your profits are paid every 12 months. So minimum is 100 Rand, and what has happened here in the Western Cape, for instance, people open an account maybe for the parents, and the kids will contribute whenever they can. And then through that process, eventually people actually accumulate sufficient money to perform Hajj, So, but like I said, it depends on the disposable income of a particular family unit or a particular couple or a particular individual, to try and make sure that there is a disciplined approach to try and put away an X amount every month. If it is that it's going to cost me 80,000 Rand for Hajj, that I put away, an amount that's equitable to 80,000. You want to save it over 5 or 10 years or 6 years for that instance. And if I apply now and I put my name down for accreditation, and I know I'm might go in the next 3 years, I should then be able to work out and say, okay, fine, if I need to get 80,000 Rand over the next 3 or 4 years, I need to put away X amount of months to actually get to that particular point of the amount that I need. So it becomes a very personal, disciplined approach from the individual to try and make sure that, because, generally speaking, when we look at our spending habits and that, we waste a lot of money. So if one is disciplined and committed to wanting to perform Hajj, and you're committed to put away 1,000 Rand a month, for instance, that's 12,000 Rand for the year, and you might get a bonus or something, and it could eventually end up 15,000 Rand, and over 5 years it could be 80,000, close to 80,000. So if one works on that kind of budget and you stick to it and you're committed to it, things might happen sooner than later. So it's just depending on the customer's discipline in terms of what you want to do and how you want to go about achieving and avoiding the temptation of spending on something that you want instead of something that you need, and those kind of things. And it's easy to just get sucked into a situation where you spend on unnecessary stuff. So there's a disciplined approach in terms of having a budget and putting away and sticking to the budget, and in the excess funds that you have, you try and put away more to actually get to the point where you want to go in Hajj. So the intention and the niyyah is strong to perform Hajj, and Allah might make that easy. Inshallah.
I mean, I know, Adeeb, earlier when the line wasn't that great, you did mention that it's so emotional sometimes where you've been with a client for 5 years and you remember how they started with that 100 Rand, and maybe some of them also didn't believe that they would actually be able to actually make that trip. Starting with 100 Rand, you're thinking, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to get there? But then you see them at the end of the at the end of the saving, being able to go for that Hajj. And what must be that like for you also, as also a consultant at the bank?
No, look, I think I heard you earlier speaking about making sure that your income that you use to go in Hajj comes from a halal source, and we very stick to our Baraka Bank in terms of how we operate and what we do and how we pay the profits to all our account holders, And you're right, I've been very fortunate to have been involved on radio when we gave away the 20,000 to people, and when people receive the money and they break down over, emotionally break down on the radio when they receive it, and make dua for you and make shukr to Allah for allowing them to actually get to this point where they can perform Hajj. It's something that you will always treasure, and like you rightfully say, when people start, especially I'm talking in Cape Town because I live here, when people start selling cook sisters and samosas from home and they put away 100 Rand or 200 Rand, and 3, 4, 5 years later they come to the bank and they say, look, I've actually got enough money to go on Hajj. And they'll try and explain to how it started. And you can see the sincerity, and the emotions that come out, because it's a trip of a lifetime. People save all their life to try and perform the Prophet of Islam, because it's one way to get closer to Allah, and it's the ultimate, in terms of a journey in the life of a Muslim. If we have the means to do it, it's compulsory for us to actually fulfill that. So yes, we get quite a lot of, I'm sure it happens in other regions as well, when people start sharing how they started and how they got to a point where where doors is open and you know, you hear stories of people gifting other people a Hajj package or gifting people the shortfall of to perform Hajj. You know, there is organizations here in the Western Cape that specifically open Hajj, a Hajj account purely to help the less fortunate. And within the community, they would identify a particular person or people, and they would sponsor the Hajj tickets, you know, if the person is accredited. So if your intention is to go and perform Hajj, and you register, you know, even if Allah is so merciful that even if you don't have enough money, you know, you'll still be a guest of Allah through somebody else coming on and say, okay, here's a gift for you to perform your Hajj. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of those, stories, and actually reality, because I've seen it, you know, where this actually happens, you know, and like you said earlier on, people come into the bank and say, look, I want to open an account, but the account is not for me, it's for somebody else, because I identified this particular person to perform Hajj, and that's what they do, you know. I've had personal experience of that, you know, and there's nothing more rewarding than that, I think, you know, and to be to be involved with it as a bank, I think, you know, that's I think it is our purpose as well.
Fantastic. Adeeb, I just want to find out from you with regards what you have been seeing over the years in terms of people coming to the bank wanting or interested in saving up for Hajj. Do you find that they're more younger people or more elderly people?
Yeah, you know, our late Paulana is that, you know, usually in Cape Town after the month of Ramadan, you know, people are spiritually on high spiritually, you know, and we open, in actual fact, in the Western Cape, we have the largest Hajj portfolio in the bank. So people, you know, we find a lot of, especially now lately, a lot of young people are now coming in to open a Hajj account and starting early to save. So that has become very prevalent here by us. That is not the elderly people waiting for when they're 40 or 50 to go on Hajj. No, it's younger people that's going on Hajj now, actually, you know, and I think they would probably first go on Umrah, and then people by the means, and then when they come back and they've made the intention to perform Hajj, then yes, you know, then they would make it their business to make sure that they save enough money and do the necessary to be accredited, and off they go. So a lot of young people are going, and you know, you find that it's an even spread. You still only get elderly people that's going because they've probably been saving for the last 15 years.
Right.
And they're probably just accumulating enough money now. But people that going the next 2, 3, 4 years, a lot of young people are going, you know, so which is a good sign, you know. So yeah, there's quite a few of them that are actually coming to the fore, you know. Mashallah, I'm really very grateful for that, you know.
Okay, perfect. All right. Now, the last question, Adeeb, you know, you spoke about the Hajj investment scheme that Al Baraka Bank is running. How is profit earned, you know, in this particular? I know you mentioned something about the risk or the JSE. I don't know if it's the same thing, but explain how the profit is earned so that when people leave for Hajj, they're living with 100% halal risk.
Yeah. Firstly, Maulana, we don't borrow money from the South African Reserve Bank. We use our shareholders and our investors' money. That fund that we utilize, you know, it's then used to finance products which are carried out on the basis of Muraba, Musharaka, and Ijara finance contracts. And, you know, when we borrow money for people to purchase properties, residential properties, commercial properties, buy vehicles, buy equipment, larger companies that use the funds for trade finance where they manufacture and sell goods. So all our funding is, you know, is based with is funded for on asset based. So the profits that we earn on that is then shared amongst our investment bouquet of products, and each investment has a profit distribution that is allocated to that, which the bank decides. So out of all the profits that we accumulate on all the finance deals is put into a pool, and from there the profits are distributed to various investments, which is a 7-day investment, your 5 days, your 1 year, your, you know, and your Hajj account as well. So, and from there, that's where the allowed income is generated from. You know, it's not money on money; it's money on assets that we've sold on to clients, and share that we purchase in properties, you know, that we sell during the course of Musharaka term. So that is how we generate the profit on our law basis, and that's how it's shared amongst all our investors, investment products.
Oh,
that varies on a month to month, in terms of it could go up or down. And since our Baraka Bank has been in existence here in South Africa for the last 33 years, we've never not paid profit on any of our investments to clients. So yeah, and we always try to remain relevant to the market. Sometimes it's a bit challenging, but we try our best to make sure that the returns on the investment is market related, to make sure that we do justice to our investors.
Fantastic, Brother Adeeb. Thank you very much for your time and your patience with the line and with the load shedding, and coming back on and explaining to our listeners and our viewers exactly how it works. Saving up for Hajj at the bank, Al Baraka, and of course the various steps that you take to ensure that people do have the money when they actually embark on that journey of a lifetime. And we felt that it's quite appropriate to talk about saving for Hajj now that people are actually going for Hajj, because there are many of us that see our relatives and friends leaving for Hajj and thinking to yourself, no,
Absolutely.
I also want to go. I also want to go. So the best is to begin even with a simple 100 rand, as you say.
Yeah, if I could just touch on one thing, in Cape Town, when people go on Hajj and you go and greet them, there's a tradition where we give people a monetary gift kind of thing, So, and that plays an important role. Again, through my experience in the Western Cape, when people actually come and greet, say, a week before you leave, and people come to the bank with all the money that they've been gifted, and it's quite a bit of money, and then that money actually adds to the people, to get them to buy meals while they go over on the Hajj, and people, give freely, and some people give very freely, to try and make sure that, they are part of the Hajj process when somebody goes and asks them to make dua, and that is just how easy, so that also plays a role in terms of people eventually getting to the point where they have sufficient money. Some people might just have money for an air ticket and accommodation and not have any money for food, for buying meals, and through this process they generate quite a bit of money to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
It's very giving, at this time of the year, And then from our side, our Baraka Bank side, we give people free Islamic wool so that when they leave, there's peace of mind that, should anything happen, their affairs are taken care of in a Sharia manner. And then we also offer our foreign exchange product where we can exchange South African rands to Saudi riyals or to dollars, depending on the need of the client. So we try and do a holistic approach as a one-stop bank when people go on Hajj to make it easy for the client and take away all that anxiety and stress of, where do I go for this and that, and we try and make it a bit easy with it.
No, absolutely. May Allah reward you for the work you do, and may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for all the Hujjaj this year, inshallah. Grant them all Hajj Mabrur,
inshallah.
Inshallah.
Ameen.
And
Jazakallah khair.
Ameen. And Afwan, brother Adeeb. Jazakallah for your time. I really appreciate you. Assalamu alaikum.
No problem. No problem. Allah reward you, Maulana, for all the work you do, inshallah.
Ameen. And you too. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum. All right, that's Brother Adeeb Abrahams talking to us there on the line from Cape Town, talking to us about preparing for Hajj and what goes, the typical steps people will take to actually approach the bank or the financial institutions, Islamic financial institutions here in South Africa, to prepare for Hajj. Very, very interesting, and I think quite important work there that they do. And they have a specific account, a specific product that is geared towards saving up for Hajj, and typically 5 to 7 years, beginning with 100 Rand. So, but he says the most important thing is your niyyah, your niyyah, your intention. And if you really intend to go for Hajj, and, that's what actually takes you there. But of course, you're going to have to do a bit of tightening of the belt, a bit of discipline is needed as well. But for all of those that are, making this intention to go for Hajj, may Allah accept, may Allah make it easy, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer their labayk, inshallah, or maybe make it easy for them to answer the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam to perform Hajj. Well, that bringing our time to 11 minutes after 9, we've come to the end of the program right here on Salam Media. Thank you for listening in. For myself and Brother Sadiq and the rest of the team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.